Hello and good evening. Welcome to the No Exit Experience, where everyone gets a chance to talk and no one is excluded, with the exception of those who trample on the speech of others. It is a show where all topics are welcome and no one is censored from giving their honest views on these topics. If you can handle that, then hop on the bus. You're in for a wild ride. My name is Jason. I'm the bus driver. My passengers today are Vanessa, Richard, Robbie, and Sir Tom Windsor Mountbatten on the tiller seat. Do we have anybody in the Zoom room? Okay, groovy. Well, we're going to hit it like a truck. We're going to start rolling. The first thing that I'm going to do is, for people that might not know about why is it no exit. The short story is there was a 1944 play by a philosopher, was it Camus or Sartre?
Jean-Paul Sartre.
Sartre. He had, didn't he have the lazy eye? And yeah, he was an existentialist philosopher, but he wrote the play. It's an absurdist play called No Exit. Actually, the name in French is Huis clos, which means closed door. So it also has the idea in a French court or in a court of like in camera, where it's like, private talking to the judge and nobody else is there. But that's the thing about it, that it's about three people in hell, and they are in hell because they were bad people. They did bad things that caused them to go to hell. There's Joseph, who was executed by firing squad for desertion. There's Inez, who's a lesbian postal clerk, who is, she's the only honest one because she's just cruel. She's a sadist. And then there's Estelle, who was an upper class lady. Inez wants Estelle. Estelle wants Joseph. He doesn't want either of them. And as it works out, that they turn out that they have this romanticized version of hell, like with the fire and the brimstone and the devil and pitchforks. And no, that's a joke. Sans plaisanterie. L'enfer, c'est les autres. Hell is other people. Think about that guy, the person when you say, I can't fucking stand him. Or as I said, I came at myself 30 years ago. I said, if you like your partner, you can work all day and you'll have a great day. If you don't like your partner, you can be on the ambulance in service at your house and the day will suck. Because hell is other people, and it's when somebody finds their that little thing, that niggling thing, and they just keep grinding on it. That's what the whole experience of the No Exit Experience, and it's the experience because it's multi-media, and the thing about being in hell is you can't get out. It's like if you're in a circular room and you're looking for the corner, and so that's that. So that's for anybody who might want to know or doesn't care or whatever. So next topic, Richard.
I'm going to ask if anybody has anything to say.
Does anybody have anything to say about existentialist philosophy from the 40s?
No.
But I have something to say about that topic.
Say, hit it.
I was taking photos of the very first show. And when I looked at the photos, I said, wow, this is like people sitting around like they're in a living room in hell. See?
Yeah.
And then I said, well, maybe that would be a good name for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you're the head devil? Because you run this place?
No, the whole idea is
There is
that's
nobody in that position.
There's no devil?
That's why, that there is no...
Was it 90 degrees in your living room that everybody was sweating or something?
Nope.
No,
Just
if-
like
If
the
they
play.
were, they'd be in the corner.
See,
But there's no corner. It's a circular room.
that's missing the whole point. There isn't the heat. There isn't the smoke. There isn't the devil. There isn't the grill. There isn't the gridiron.
Yeah, it's-
Oh,
In
okay.
the play, it's nothing like they thought it would be. Just them sitting around in a room.
Like us.
Did you see the parallels?
Yes.
Yeah. I wasn't good at philosophy.
Well, it's also theater. And it's also French.
Yeah, I don't understand French.
Oh, c'est dommage.
Whatever you said.
I said, that's too bad. Or I could say, du spinnst. You're crazy. That's German. Okay. Anybody else have anything else on No Exit? Okay, groovy. So, Richard, The Undertaker.
Okay. The death of Jim Prey has motivated me to put my affairs in order. And I've been working on the deed to my house because I want all my property to go through my trust, which is non-taxable. And in order to do that, you have to prepare a deed from me to the trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Every deed has to be notarized. Jim Prey was my notary. He's dead. So I have to find a notary. And someone said, the local undertaker, he provides a notary service for the neighborhood. Well, I'm thinking, why is he going to want to provide a service for me? So I said, hello, Bushka Funeral Home. I'm thinking on pre-planning my estate. Can I have a meeting with you? Sure, come on this Friday. So we go there, and I met Peter. And it was a very profound experience. So it started off, I told him my ideology about death. The thing about Peter is, he's like a bartender. You could tell he's heard it all. So I knew I could just say anything to this guy.
Right.
So I said, for me, everything in reality changes. And that includes my consciousness. For millions of years before I was born, I did not exist. And after I die, I will not exist again. However, the people I leave behind may not think like me. Therefore, I want to hire your services. I'm going to put it in my will that my heirs should contact you upon my demise. They will tell you how they want to mourn my death. They may want me to be embalmed. They may want me to be cremated. They may want a memorial service. They may not want any of that and simply want you to notify the authorities, put an obituary in the Buffalo News, and dispose of my body. My point is, since they are the ones doing the mourning, they should be the ones to dictate how to do it. After all, your fee is coming out of my estate. You have to put that in a will. And Peter was very accommodating. He took down all my information, put it in his computer. His name and his phone number will be written on the instructions, which are on my wall in a folder named, "You don't have as much time left as you think you do."
Why don't you just call it Memento Mori?
The whole experience with Peter was very comforting, strangely enough. I didn't think it would be, but it was. Like I had some kind of understanding of what will happen in the future. At the same time, I know that's an illusion. And at the end of the meeting, Peter, "Oh, do you have documents you want notarized?" "Yes." He didn't even read them. I could have had him notarize anything. So then Mick and Mick, I loved the fact that Mick was at this meeting. He was like super alert to what was going on. So we walk out, and there's this, everything at this funeral home is well constructed, but there's this beautifully constructed carport. So when somebody pulls up to pick you up, you're not going out in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And we stopped because I looked around at the carport. There's a clock on the top beam of the carport. And I said, "Look, it's at 12:05 and it's 3 p.m. What's going on? You think this is an oversight and the battery died? Or do you think it's a symbolic gesture?" And without missing a beat, Mick said, "That clock symbolizes to the mourners that time has stopped for the deceased." Damn, I thought, Mick is turning into a goddamn philosopher. It reminded me that while we are in existence, we influence each other, and we may continue to influence them even after we die.
But the dead only know that they're dead.
I don't think they know that.
Well, that's what I mean. That we may influence others after we die, but we have ceased being active, and we're only passively doing that.
Right. I agree.
I can speak to your point because some of the most positive people at Duke were the oncologists, the transplant surgeons, and the decedent care people. The first two are doctors, but the decedent care were just people that dealt with the people that are dying. And they were the most positive people you ever saw. And likewise, you're right. He's seen everything. He's heard everything. He's like,
Yeah.
just pay the bill. I mean,
Basically.
you know, you want to have a stripper, you want to have nothing, you want to have a kosher meal, you want to have, just whatever. I don't care. I don't care if you're having a Zoroastrian service or a Catholic or a non-denominational or satanic or atheistic or,
Although Peter would never say that. Everything Peter says is very calming,
If that's what you would like to do.
He has incorporated that so much into his personality. Like if you spilled a glass of wine on him, he wouldn't freak out. He would say, "That's okay. I can have this replaced."
I don't get it how funeral directors and They stay so calm in that.
Yeah.
You see dead bodies almost every single day, I guess.
Yeah.
I never got fired up. If it's what you do every day, that's what you do.
What about being near the embalming chemicals? Couldn't they breathe them a lot? Has
Well-
any influence on that?
They use formaldehyde, and that's a good question because what's in formaldehyde? It's not. It doesn't have benzene in it, so it's not cancer causing. And so I think the most you might get is high, or you might smell like a pickle. Because after all the bodies are embalmed when you're doing anatomy lab in your first semester in med school, and we always smelled like pickles. So
Oh, dill or sweet and sour, or the bread and butter ones? Different kinds of pickles.
if you ask anybody about a pickle, the only thing they're going to think of, their first
dill?
thought is going to be dill.
Dill, okay.
But I remember my dad, before he passed away, he would say, "I'm spending all my money before so you guys don't fight over it." I'm like, 'cause he said, you know what? I'm not taking any money with me, but so why do you guys need it? And he would mess around with us all the time, and then I loved when his sense of humor. He's like, when I die, I want them to burn me ass first. Like we wanted to be, cremated.
Oh.
He was like, they need to burn me ass first. But
Do you know what the real deal is with ashes? The whole body burns. What's left are bones, and they pulverize them. They pulverize them, and so your ashes are actually bone fragments. But they're pulverized into small.
Like all your skin is evaporated?
Oh yeah, it's gone. I
all
mean,
dust.
from dust ye come, to
Yeah.
dust ye shall return.
You a Christian? Isn't that a
Technically-
Christian thing?
So technically that's referring to bones, not to skin, the dust.
Well, yeah, but actually, the whole body, if you left it to go, it would all turn to dust because the stuff would be consumed by animals or by bacteria, and then it would just wear away. Because that's why it's good to throw the body in the woods because the mice, the voles, the possum, they'll chew on the bones and they'll get the calcium out of them, so you just disappear. And they especially love the teeth. And also, undertaker is an outdated term. Like mortician is a really outdated term.
Oh, what
That-
do they call them now? Funeral directors?
Yeah, funeral director is the accepted parlance.
Yeah, I would have thought he was talking about the wrestler.
That's what I thought when I
Undertaker.
saw that. I thought it was one of your things talking about a
I
wrestler.
purposely worded it that way so people wouldn't know.
Apparently, Taker was quite a fan of the strip bars in Canada. He'd come to Buffalo and then he'd go up to Fort Erie.
So in the 1980s, I went to a memorial service where the deceased had orchestrated the whole thing. It was so ridiculous. I walked out on it.
Really?
People had to sing certain songs at a certain time. Oh, it was,
Huh? Sounds like a Catholic mass, like where they have the things all laid out and whatnot. Yeah.
yeah, like it was a guy, and he micromanaged it. And I hated it. And I just walked out. I said, this is so, I don't want mine to be anything like this.
I want mine to be nobody crying because I've never made anybody cry. Made people laugh. I want people to laugh. If you have to dress me up as a clown, I will.
You're going to scare the shit out of people then.
Dead
I
clown?
wonder if
Oh, boy.
anybody's ever been embalmed and dressed as a clown. It sounds like something somebody would have thought of.
Well, Clarabelle.
Look it up.
Who was not Clarabelle, who was the other?
Oh,
Howdy
Bozo?
Doody.
The big one? Bozo?
No, Bozo.
Yeah, Bozo.
Yeah.
I could dress me up as Stone Cold Steve Austin and have people can have beer anyway.
Only if you
Just
pour it
like-
on your face.
Yeah, just as long as you keep me a can.
Well, because it's the idea, celebrate the life, don't mourn the
Yeah.
death. Because that was the idea with the Irish, that while you're mourning in the church, you're out screwing in the fields. That life is always, the only sure thing is that we're going to die. Anything else is gravy. So, we only live to procreate. It's like the mayfly, which lives a day. It hatches, and immediately the male immediately goes looking for a female to screw, and then she lays eggs, she dies, and and the male dies, and they live a day.
So if you reduce it to biological essentialism, there might be other reasons for life than that.
That's interesting.
I
Can
think
you suggest any?
Well, to achieve something or create something, make the world a better place other than just procreating with your animal side. Use your mental side.
From a scientific perspective, the biological imperative is reproduction. So I
Yeah, it
understand your
is.
point, but because one man's trash is another man's art. So creating something, well, what are you creating? Well, if you're creating a baby, you're creating something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trapping spirit in flesh. Wow. The Buddhists call it samsara. I'm really into Gnosticism, like early Gnostic Christianity, where they say the demiurge, which is the creator of this world, who is not actually the true source or the true God. It's a sub-god, a very corrupt sub-god, and he keeps sending souls back over and over and over to do the same thing over and over. And when you die, don't go towards the light, because that's you re-entering another body. Go somewhere else. You have to get past the 7 archons, though. They ask you questions.
I only know an Archon from StarCraft. That was a very powerful character. He'd zap you. He'd zzz, zzz. It's a very good graphic. It was like electricity.
Good song.
Do you know any of the questions in advance?
Well, they you're supposed to tell them that they have no authority over you, and you want to return to source where you come from. You're a fragment of the monad, or the true oversoul, the true creative force of all. And like it was fragmented, and that this world is really just like a sort of like a fake version of a world. It's not even real.
Oh, a simulacrum.
Yeah.
You know, but Vanessa has an interesting point, you know, that you have a deeper need to search for meaning. The people usually who commit suicide have lost their sense of meaning.
Right.
I learned that the people that are still alive want to learn something new. I mean, even if you're 60 years old, 7 years old, 80 years old, they still want to learn. My mom's 84 years old, and
What's she learning? What's she into?
who knows? Like, learning to live without my dad, I guess, you know, for 3 years.
I would disagree with that, because what I think that many people want constancy. They don't want change.
Yes.
They don't want to learn anything new. Like my sister did recreation in a nursing home. She actually has an associate's degree in recreation studies. But that was 30 years ago. And she said, when you're 95 years old, you don't want to play ball toss. You're just waiting to die, but don't have the guts to kill yourself.
Wow. She said that?
Yeah. But that's the thing. You people I as an adult learner, I'm different from most people I know, because people say, "Oh, I can't learn a language," and they just stop right there. They don't, you know. And I think that want to learn something. No, I would barter to you that people that are retired just want to do their thing. And you
Yeah,
know, if you're not a
well-
woodworker, you're not going to learn woodworking as a retiree. So that's just my opinion.
Well, I think it's more of like retired, like they're learning to adjust to, like, you know, not working and wanting to do something different, like maybe golf or probably do like hang out somewhere, you know.
Like Bear Bryant,
Probably.
he retired and then died a month later. When all you have is Southern football, and then you don't have that anymore.
But it's weird that Marv Levy's 101 years, almost going to be 101 years old, and he still jogs and is still active in that.
I got a buddy or a couple of friends who work in South Florida, and the one woman said she had 102-year-old women that would come in that broke a wrist 'cause they were playing tennis. I mean, you know,
Right.
that you're only as old as you feel. And what I find more amazing that Marv Levy has a master's degree in history from Harvard. So, but I mean, that's an appeal to authority. Okay. So your choice. Do you want 30 years for a box of zines or Trump's promise to abolish the IRS? You get
Oh.
one of them.
Let's go with the Trump's promise to abolish the IRS. A lot of people I knew in this past election said, oh, they're thinking of voting for Trump because he'll do things such as finally get rid of the IRS. He's going to get rid of the IRS. No, he's going to weaponize the IRS. They just sent out 5 million letters to people who are on Trump's bad side. And Trump recently had one of his judges he appointed make it so that he and his family cannot be held liable for any tax liability or anything having to do with taxes. I think it's May 25th this year backwards. At first I thought it was going forward as well, but he just has immunity from the date of that ruling backwards. Both him and his family, that they have to be left alone. Even if they find something that they did, they can't prosecute them for any past thing having to do with that.
I don't think that's set in stone yet, though. I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's absolutely, because that wouldn't stand the legal test. That is not equal under the law. That wouldn't.
Yeah, in other words, that was the agreement
That's the
with
agreement.
the
Yeah.
IRS, but that could be invalidated by a
It,
court. for
it
example,
could,
or
maybe in the
Congress.
future.
Well,
but-
because also he was suing himself, and all it is one big corruption setup. Because, for example, the raid on Mar-a-Lago, this illegal raid, and it was my stuff. No, it was not illegal, and two, it was not your stuff. But everything the guy says is a lie.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
yeah.
So yeah, and that's why abolishing the IRS. Well,
People really thought he might do that. I would never think he would do that. You can use that as a weapon.
Well-
the IRS is a great weapon for whoever's in power.
but also abolishing these agencies. Well, if you the people that are very far left abolish the police, well, the people that complain the loudest about the police are the ones who complain the loudest when they're not there when they need them.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what abolishing the police meant.
The far left people say abolish all police and no prisons.
Yeah,
Well,
that
I'm
was
sure
back
that
6
there are
years
people
ago.
who say that, but when the movement said that, defund the police,
Not defund.
that was different.
Right, I know. Defund the police is different. Abolish the police is very, like, take their badges away and their guns away.
Well, what they could mean by that is redefine how they operate. You know how police started?
Let's see. Oh, the town watchman in the
No,
1600s.
no. The police in America started because slaves were running away from the South, and there were these patrols rounded up to get the slaves, and those became the police.
Sounds
It's
about
sort
right.
of, it's kind of a disreputable origin story.
Well,
The
Wasn't-
legacy holds if you think about it.
Wasn't there another name, like, aren't they called posses or something?
No, a posse is
Oh, yeah, there were
is an
posses.
ad hoc group that is commissioned only for a certain thing.
Yeah, you need help finding somebody or something.
Yeah, because posse comes from the Latin possum, which means I can.
Interesting.
And so, but yeah, that the posse was separate. They weren't duly sworn for an indeterminate amount of time.
And have you ever noticed that when the police are called in for some disturbance, the police always side with property owners?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
that is a consistency. You're right.
Or
I've
they
noticed that
they
too.
side with the government if the government is involved.
Right.
You know, when they're called in.
Oh, they go by the order of hierarchy.
So when the police were called in during the strikes in who was that? Carnegie. Carnegie wasn't paying his workers enough, so they went on strike. And he called the police. He said, "They're blocking people from coming into my factory." Now the police came and they supported Carnegie without even saying maybe these workers got a reason while they're striking.
But the police also say, I'm not going to litigate on the side of the road.
Well, that's true, but at the same time, they had to take a side.
But and the property rights are well enshrined in the law. I mean, we may find it to be ill-advised, but it is what it is. So I can't fault them for doing that because that's what they know. That's what they're taught.
So that's what the movement is saying. How about teaching the police to be a little bit different, to be a little bit more not introspective, the opposite of introspective, of looking at the big picture as to what's going on.
Expository?
So if somebody smashes a window, and the police are called, and the police go and they say, a police who looks at the big picture would say, "Why did you smash the window?" Because I was standing at the bus stop and the guy next to me had a heart attack and there was a defibrillator in the window.
That
See
is the
what I
most
mean?
noble reason, which I don't think most are that noble.
Now I bet that does happen. That does happen where the
How
police say,
often?
"Get out of here! I didn't see anybody here." Let's just say I didn't run into you and an unknown person smashed this window. I bet that does happen.
You haven't spent any time in the criminal world, have you? The people that break windows, because Ben caught stealing once when I was 5. When just a simple fact. When I want something, didn't want to pay for it, they break the window because they want to steal something that's in there, not to help their fellow man.
I broke a window playing baseball in the backyard, and the bat slipped out of my hand.
Ooh.
Was it a storefront window?
Nope, it was my grandparents' window.
And what were the repercussions?
Not to play baseball in the yard.
And it was like after Katrina, or was it Rita, a guy wading through the water carrying a big screen TV over his head, wading through waist-high water.
You're saving the TV from being destroyed by the water because it might not work if it got all wet and.
And by the way, I'm going to put it in my own house, or I'm going to sell it on the side of the road for $25.
He's protecting it.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments on the IRS?
No.
They'll never get rid of it.
Until you die, or if I find somebody better. Starship Troopers. That's what you're my sergeant until you die, or I find somebody better. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let's see. So Robbie, your first one. Let's see. Masking feelings. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, like probably in my 30s, like I would I would pretend I was happy, but then I'm like, I was sad, deep inside I was sad. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I would just sit there and be alone. And now, the older I get, I'm a lot better on it. But when I see people, like, I'm starting to learn about more people and like the way they act with their eyes and that. Like they will smile, but they're not. It's like I always ask, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" It's like I'm so afraid that they'll do something bad if we don't ask them.
Well, yeah, either somebody is smiling because they're happy, or they're smiling because they're covering up something sad. But I think a lot more is from column A than column B. And also, if I'm having an issue and I don't know you well, and you say, if I'm smiling and you say, "What's wrong?" I'm going to say, "What are you talking about?" It's just like
they'll keep the cover up going.
Yeah. Well, it's like a certain person who isn't here now, said that, again, Basquiat, his art that's how he was showing his pain. Does all art come from pain? Does any art come from joy?
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I like art that comes from joy.
Because this person was trying to. I'm still unconvinced, just like many people, that Basquiat could paint the graffiti, but on paper he looks like a child. He was naive art, and it's untalented.
A child could be considered a compliment when you say to somebody, "You paint like a child."
It could.
It means that you have that natural creativity.
But you remember, like you're saying about hall walls, I can do that.
Right.
I could do that. This butcher paper thing that was written.
Well, you would need the inspiration to do it.
What thing in particular is this?
We were discussing a new art show, and we were discussing what would be a theme for the next art opening. And one of the board members said, "Why don't we call a show, I Could Do That?" In other words, you only put up paintings where when people look at them, they say, "I could do that."
Oh.
I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Huh.
Give the background about the member and the other members.
You might have to elaborate a little bit.
Who was the guy who came up with the idea?
Art Ziller.
And what's his job?
He's an attorney.
Yeah, he's a lawyer. And all the other people who objected,
They were curators. Right.
Oh.
"You can't do that. You can't do that." Snobby art people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know about that.
So in other words, that happened when the Albright was selling off some of its stash. And there were members who said, "Hey, we're members. Shouldn't we have a say as to what you sell off and what you don't?" They were appalled at the Albright. "How dare you tell us what to do?" But then that made the people protest even more. And then finally the Albright said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's have a big group meeting about it." So they rented out Shays, and all these people went to the big group meeting. Everybody from the art world who went to that big group meeting, and I asked them about it, they said, "Yeah, we sided with the Albright." Whereas ordinary people who had nothing to do with the art world, they said, yeah, I think that should have a say in what stays and what goes. So that's an example. What you do for a living affects your consciousness.
What we do we are what we repetitively do. That's why that made up number from Gladwell and Dubner, Dubner and the guys from Freakonomics, 10,000 hours. That's just a made up number, but that makes you an expert, because like my residency training, I did about 18,000 hours. Over 3 years, and just in emergency medicine, I also had the other year. So if you just tally up the hours, I had more than that. That's what made me an expert in emergency medicine. And so, but we are what we repetitively do. I could go back into ED right now, but I'd have to look stuff up. But just like medication doses, and there's probably new meds of which I'm not aware.
Sure.
But I could still sew you up. I could still tube you. I could do all the critical skills, and I could do them effectively. So.
But a lot of it was also didn't trust talking to anybody back in the day too, until like probably I would say in my mid to late 30s. Then I went and got a counselor, and because it was like I felt like, okay, I could release a lot of stuff that I was holding back.
But people think it'll be like a wave, but actually it's more like taking the skin off of an orange. It's little pieces. It's not this huge open the floodgates and it's all going to spill out. Well, that leads to my next topic, child imprinting. Because when you're a kid, if you're told constantly that you're ugly or you're stupid, and it goes back to about the dyslexia kids, if people tell you're stupid all the time, you think that, and you either take that as a mantle, you try to go ahead. Or if you're a girl that's pretty, you either say, I'm pretty, or you say, I want to be more than that, so they don't emphasize their looks. Or the guy who happens to be big, but he's not good enough to be a pro athlete, so he barely graduates high school and he becomes a bouncer. And that's his, that's where the physical ends. And so people, if you're told, your first thought that you always know is you're ugly, doesn't matter what people tell you. If people tell you you're ugly, you
internalize it.
Yeah, there were people sitting here right in this very room doing a podcast about the police, and somebody said something that really stuck with me. He said, who do you think signs up to go in the police force? He said, I'll tell you who. You know all those kids growing up in high school who bullied other kids? They enjoyed it, so they wanted a job where they could bully other people. Isn't that interesting?
There was a guy with whom I worked on the ambulance 30 years ago, Larry. I can't remember Larry's last name, but he said he knew more than enough people that joined up with Buffalo Police just because they wanted to settle scores.
Wow.
Well, you know what they say, the biggest gang in New York City? NYPD.
I went to school with a guy that would wear leather jackets, had long hair, and now he's a legislator in Niagara County, and he runs Thursday at the water in Gratwick Park.
I know more than one doctor that has a ponytail, so I don't know what you're getting at.
No, back in the day, he was like...
Metalhead?
Yeah, like leather jackets, metalhead, and now it's like he's clean, cut his hair, wears a suit.
Get a haircut and get a real job.
Wear a suit, yep. I didn't think you would.
Okay, anything else on child imprinting and things that lasting detrimental effects?
Oh, that's such a huge topic.
So yeah, we just broach over it.
It's true. It's true.
That's why people get PhDs in it.
I mean, often when Vanessa writes to me, she often talks about things from her childhood that imprinted on her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can't even talk about my childhood because it was like I don't want to talk. I want to keep forgetting about it and push it aside. I mean,
Yeah.
because my biological dad, the one that died was my dad that adopted me. Biological dad, I call him a sperm donor. You don't.
Oh,
give a crap
yeah.
about
That's what I
me.
call mine, too.
Well, the best thing is to deal with it, but the second best is to compartmentalize it and push it away. I mean, it's not optimal, but it could be worse.
Or sometimes I think if you write it down, maybe if you write the stories down and they're in a book, then you don't have to think about them as much because you wrote them down, now they're out.
Or you put them in the book and then you throw it in the fire.
Or,
But I-
or you publish the book because it's
Right.
interesting.
Right.
But I've seen famous people like these pretty women that lose more weight and become anorexic because they think, oh, we got to lose more weight, and it's like,
yeah.
Well,
I hate that.
I'll flip the script though, because on Elsbeth there was Anna Camp. You might remember her from Pitch Perfect. She actually put on weight and she looks more normal now. You know, she was attractive, but now she looks even more attractive because she's not, you know, like rail thin. You know, and I wonder how many people starve themselves, you know, or don't eat.
So when I was 18 years old, I got my first job. It was in a jewelry store. I was working in the office. And
Joaillier.
and so I was in charge of the repair department. I had to keep all the records for the repair department and then take it to the different repair places in town. Watches, pearls, rings, you know, they all had their own little, and then so you would take it to them. So that was my job. And I was always coming up with ideas on how to make my job more efficient. And other people in the office were always making fun of me. And then somebody went on vacation, and the owner brought in, you could hire a temporary person for a week. So she came in and she was working in the office. The last day that she was there, when it was time to leave, she said, "Oh, I want to talk to you before I leave." I said, "What's that?" She said, "I can't believe the way people make fun of you for being innovative." She said, they don't realize that that is a gift. That's nothing to make fun of. She said, "My husband works at CalSpan Advanced Technologies, and I told him about all your ideas, and he said to me, he said, now that's the kind of people we need at CalSpan. So you are valuable, and never forget that." And that left an impression.
My favorite episode of Dragnet ever was one about they outlined a drug sniffing dog, and there's other officers that are all making fun. They give Friday and Gannon a can of dog food and a dog bone and all this and that, and then it gets turned because Ginger is the dog, you know, and Ginger is the sniffing dog, and the one guy has marijuana in his pocket, and Joe says, "Ginger, seek," and she goes, and she starts digging in there, and the guy says, "What you doing?" And Joe says, "What do you have in that pocket?" He says, "Evidence." And he says, "What is it?" He said, "Well, I'll log it in." He said, "What are you going to write down on the paper for the evidence you have?" And he says, "Marijuana." He says, "Excuse me?" He says, "Marijuana." And he says, "Woof." Because that's what all they were doing, like woof, oof, 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 making fun of them because it was new and it was different. And, you know, we don't need a 45. I got a 38. You don't need a bigger gun until you need a bigger gun. And you don't need a drug-sniffing dog until you need a drug-sniffing dog. So that's my take. Okay, let's see. So next up will be Richard. Political cartoon. You have a political cartoon to put up?
Yes, I do. All right. So I thought this was a very interesting cartoon.
Interesting, like funny, or interesting, like car crash?
Interesting, like not too many cartoons have this
Hook.
technique. In other words, they have this message. Okay. All right. So Trump is talking about how close he is to the ignorant voters out in the world. And at the same time, the wealthy capitalist is saying, he's handing Trump money, and he's saying, that works for me. So in other words, Trump is got two personalities. The one he shows to the ignorant people, I'm your friend, and the other one where he's getting bribed left and right by the wealthy class that supports him.
I saw a similar political cartoon several months ago where he's facing the left and he says, "I don't care about you." But then he turns back to the MAGA and says, "I don't care about you either."
How's that similar?
Because looking at you know, he doesn't care about any of the people, you know, that only the oligarchical class.
I see.
You know, that that all these schmucks that are hanging on his every word don't. His biggest base are the high school or less educated white people in the Central. That's and he's losing them now because of all the shenanigans.
The economy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That diesel is down 20 cents, so it's only $5.79 a gallon now.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's what if you got if you have a 250-gallon tank on your Peterbilt, dude, that's $1,000. That's $1,200. Yeah, you feel it in the pocketbook. So, okay. So next up is let's see, Vanessa, 30 years for moving a box of zines.
Hey, Tom, you got the graphic for that? I sent it to you, Richard.
It's in the. I put it in the show folder. What do you call it? Show photos folder.
Yeah.
Isn't that the show photos folder in the bottom corner there?
Oh, that's Jason.
No, that's me. C'est moi. Hi.
That used to be the show photos folder at one time.
Well, I'll get into what it is. There were a bunch of people in Texas arrested recently. They had a protest at the Prairieland Immigration Jail, protesting ICE, and an officer was shot. But they got a whole bunch of people who weren't even involved in the shooting, and gave them really long sentences, like 100 years. And instead of like having them run concurrently, they like stacked them. But this one, this woman, Marcela Rueda, she was at the protest, and she wasn't involved in the shooting or anything. She was just there. And her husband, Daniel Sanchez Estrada, moved a box of political zines, from the car trunk to the front porch of the house. And since she was at the protest, she was being investigated. And they arrested him for moving the box of zines out of the trunk of the car onto the porch, claiming he was trying to hide evidence. And they were just like generic lefty political zines like you see all the time. Like you see them over on the stores on the west side. You can pick them up for free. Yeah.
Point of order. Define a zine for me.
A zine is like a low run, low print. That's like done by people like lower on the food chain. It's not like a magazine or anything with a corporate type of thing going to it. A lot of times it's photocopied or it's low print run newsprint.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's a whole culture. It was a big thing
I
in
think it was the
90s.
1970s they started. Somebody
Yeah.
got the idea. They said, hey, you can have copies made for 10 cents a piece now. They used to have them in malls, 10 cents a copy.
Yeah.
What if I typed something up and I had 25 copies and I called it, the Buffalo Beat, and I started going out and handing this out. You would call that a zine because it's technically not a magazine, but you're pretending
Right.
it is.
It's like a DIY magazine, sort of.
And some of these
Think
got
about
really
it.
elaborate, these zines, and you had one.
I did a bunch
the
of them.
Riverside something.
Riverside Art Scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever prank a fax machine?
Prank
How
a
do you do
fax
that?
machine.
With like sounds?
No,
Sounds
you you black a page out, you make 2 other copies, and then you tape them together in a loop.
Oh, that's
And then you
amazing.
send it, and it keeps going till it uses up all the toner. It's like you could do that for places that have printers by just an all black page, and run their laser printer ink out.
Did you get feedback on the Riverside Art
Oh,
scene?
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone even posted some of them, did scans. I don't know who. Someone did some scans of them and put them on the archive.org.
What I liked about the Riverside Art Scene is it was so intricate.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It's
In
like
other
my
words,
brain.
you tried not to have any blank spaces.
That's true.
So, like, if there was an article and then a second article, but there was a space between it, somebody would draw things in the space.
yes, or write things. Yeah.
Hey, there's a space. We can't have that.
It was very chaotic, but yet organized. A lot of information overload.
So I
I
remember
like that.
looking at it and I just said, look at all the thought that went into this thing. I mean, it's chock full of information. And that is where you started writing about the abuses of the priests in the Catholic Church.
No, that was in there, yeah. Before it was popular to say so.
That's true.
Way before the Boston
the
thing.
canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
I mean, who'd have thought that a Cardinal, McCarrick, would be not just abetting it, but be one of the guys who did it? you know, because that would have been heresy 25 or 30 years ago. But yet it happened.
I've been listening to a documentary on the person from the Soviet Union during Stalin's time named Beriev. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I don't. It doesn't ring a bell.
Well, in Nazi Germany, you had Hitler, but then you had Heinrich Himmler, who was in charge of the death camps. So even Stalin said to Beriev, "You're my Heinrich Himmler." So in other words, Beriev's job. What's going on there, Tom?
What? There's nothing near my microphone.
I'm hearing clicking. It sounds like
I'm hearing clicking too.
Like
it's,
the short.
it's okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So Beriev would basically carry out everything that Stalin said to do. He would do, and he was hated because nobody in the Soviet government trusted him. Like if Beriev wanted you gone, he would say something to Stalin that you were untrustworthy, and then you disappeared. So when Stalin died, Beriev was in a perfect position to take over for Stalin. And all the people in the government said, well, now Stalin is dead, but we'll be damned if we're going to let Beriev take it over. Beriev was so sick, and this ties into the thing about adults and children, that he was a pedophile. And he would cruise the streets of Moscow looking for young girls. Everyone he picked up was never found again. So in other words, after the act, he made sure they didn't talk. Yeah, he was a sick puppy.
Wow.
So anyway, what happened then is they immediately convened a tribunal, and Beriev was summoned, and they listed all the things that he did wrong under Stalin. And then they concluded that the sentence that would be best served for Beriev would be death by firing squad. And you know what Beriev did when he heard the verdict?
Ate his gun. Gave him the finger?
He begged for his life.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean. He was crying and everything.
Oh.
And the people on the committee said,
Yeah.
you had your chance, you know, and you're making yourself look worse,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth. So he was promptly executed to make sure he wasn't the successor to Stalin.
When did de-Stalinization occur? Quickly after that?
Under Khrushchev, yeah, because Khrushchev made a speech, which was supposed to be secret, to all the members of the Russian government, and it quickly leaked out, like almost immediately, stating, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Stalin was a horrible, horrible person, and I'm going to list all the things he did that were immoral. And he said that in the speech, and you know, everybody's sitting there and yeah, he did do, yeah, he did, and that was the de-Stalinization. That was the beginning of it by Khrushchev.
Because
And
Stalin.
by the way, Khrushchev was his best friend. Did you know that? He was
I did not know
Stalin's
that.
best friend, yeah.
Because Stalingrad was Volgograd, right? And Leningrad was St. Petersburg.
No, just the opposite. Well, this is the thing that I often get confused at. What is Putin associated with?
The GRU. Or
No,
the,
I mean the city that he came from.
Oh,
St. Petersburg, right?
I think so.
Okay, so that was renamed after Stalin during World War II, and then they changed it back. To
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're on the same page?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I. And that's why we have to do the de-Trumpification.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I'm hoping.
We need to
Well-
deprogram them from their cult.
Well, Palm Beach is going to rename their airport to the President Donald J. Trump International
Yeah.
Airport. So I know what I'm not flying out of. And after he chewed up Cornyn and spit him out,
Yeah.
who was one of his best allies, that Cornyn said, "No, we're not going to name the expressway after you now."
Yeah.
I mean, you know, people of the face-eating leopards party can't be shocked when the leopard eats their face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
So I hope we all live to see the de-Trumpification of America.
and I think really he will have his revenge because he'll be too demented to know it.
Oh,
He'll give a super finger saying, "Ha ha, assholes! I don't even know it." I'm talking and I can't shut up, sort of thing. Because he's sundowning when he's when you're 80 years old, you can't be up all night truthing. And okay, so let's see. What's my next one? Okay, one or two. Say one or two.
3,
No, say one or two.
1.
Okay. So Richard was looking out for my health, and he was pointing out how he says that this is ultra-processed foods, my Coke Zero.
Yeah.
And,
Tasty.
And I said, well, what about the water in it? And he goes from yes to no. He said, so you're saying it's completely healthy because it has water? I said, no. I said, it's not completely the devil. And that he says, worried about my health. But as I say, there's a quote from Voltaire from 400 years ago that Voltaire said, they say coffee is a slow poison, and it surely must be. Let me talk, and then you'll...
Well, he could shake his head.
Well, coffee is a slow poison, and it surely must be, for I have been drinking it for 65 years, and am not dead yet. I've been drinking this for nigh on 25 years, and I am not dead yet. And I don't have any kidney stones, and I have
But you've got diabetes.
that has nothing to do with that. That actually helped it. Dude, you don't understand the genetics of diabetes type 1.
I know that you've had diabetes for how many years?
25.
And when you have diabetes, a good doctor will immediately say to you, you need to improve your diet. Cut out ultra-processed foods.
I don't know.
Well, I had a friend who said my uncle smoked Camels of 3 packs a day for 55 years, and he's still alive at 80. That doesn't mean that he doesn't wake up hacking for an hour every day.
Well,
Like there's a thing called a quality of life.
and my quality of life is just fine with my Coke Zero.
If your quality of life was better, you would have overcome your diabetes.
No, I can't overcome it. My pancreas doesn't work. The beta cells don't work.
You can revive a damaged pancreas with diet.
No, that is absolutely not true.
Isn't that a nice doctor that he is? He tells people don't bother trying to fix it.
No, that's a fix that doesn't work. That doesn't work. They transplant beta cells now because they're not there.
You would tell your patient, just have whatever you want. You have diabetes, don't worry about it.
No, see, that's what you're doing. You're going
What
black
would you
and
tell
white.
your patient?
I wouldn't say that you can heal your pancreas.
What would you say?
I would say you can't heal your pancreas, so you have to take your insulin.
You wouldn't say cut out ultra-processed foods?
I'd have to look into that more
Well,
because,
do so and then get back to me.
but ultra processed foods. I mean, so I should just go out and kill the animals myself and farm my own vegetables.
You should eat things that grow if you plant them. And if you plant Coke Zero, nothing's going to grow. If you water your
Hey.
plants with Coke Zero, it's not going to help
Brondo,
you.
it's got electrolytes.
No, I'm gonna disagree with that whole coffee is bad for you thing, because even my doctor said, because I got diabetes too, he said you could drink coffee black, it's fine. Even like when you're having like a heart thing, which I again also have high blood pressure,
Yeah.
and he said like caffeine will help it calm down. Like after heart races.
You want to know something crazy? Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, because Crohn's is only superficial, but it can be from the mouth to the butt. And the worst is oral Crohn's. But ulcerative colitis is only in the colon, but it's the whole depth. But they're the two sides of the same coin. Do you know what helps that? What helps it? Nicotine. So before they had the lozenges in the 70s, because Henry Crohn in about 1970s who identified it, they'd say, start smoking. And now that's why you can use the
Keep going.
You can use the Nicorette to get the nicotine. You don't have to smoke. Because do you know why people get fat when they quit smoking?
Their diet, their appetite.
Well, also though that the nicotine causes the fat to liquefy, and it's in the blood circulation. And then when they don't have that, it has to deposit somewhere. And so then instead of being in their blood, it goes to their adipose, in their butt and in their thighs and in their stomach. So yeah, that's why we're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, saying, well, I know you got Crohn's, but you shouldn't smoke, but you should smoke, but you shouldn't smoke. I mean, when you got to weigh the pluses and minuses. That Well, you got Crohn's, but do you want lung cancer?
Oh boy.
So that's why what we're finding out is I'm waiting for when they lab grow meat. I'll eat a lab grown steak. I'll eat it right now. You know that if we don't, but I don't know what we're going to do with all the cows. Free range cows?
Well, take them in the dirt and then water them,
Make cow trees.
and you get like
They'll
Circle of
fertilize
life.
the soil.
Hamburger
Yeah.
trees.
Circle of life.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know, when automobiles took over for horses, I'm sure there were people who said, what are we going to do with all the horses?
Make dog food and glue.
Or bet on them.
Yeah, bet on them. Yeah, off-track betting. Yeah. way of
Or
life,
just
yeah.
release them into the wild. Pierre Curie died in 1910 when he got hit by a horse and cart. Because that was the funny.
He did a good thing, by the way, when he was nominated for the Nobel Prize. He said, I will not show up and accept it. In fact, I'll tell people why I'm not accepting it unless you include my wife.
And there
Because
were
he said she's just as important as I am.
well, there were them and one of their kids, and one of their kids married somebody else. They got Nobel prizes, and was it Eva was the one? She said, "Yeah, I'm the only one who doesn't have a Nobel Prize in the family." But on the flip side, Marie Curie, she died in agony from radiation-induced cancer. I mean, that OxyContin was made for people with bony mets. Because, you know, I want to get high is here. I have bony metastasis here. This is the one for what they needed, not this one. And that's what it was supposed to be, for bony mets. And she had bony mets. And if you want to know pain, it's have a metastatic lesion in place of your bone. Yeah.
So upon his insistence, they gave the Nobel Prize to her. And then they started noticing her research. And then a few years later, they gave her a second Nobel Prize for more, you know, that's how smart she was.
Wasn't the first one physics and the second one chemistry, or was it the other way around?
I can't remember. the
Well, because
order.
it was chemistry and physics. Because Linus Pauling got two, one for chemistry and one for peace. And what was it, in 52 and 61? So, because, you know, people that have a hard science or literature is the fake, you know, and economics is like a thixotropic. It's neither hard nor soft. But the hard sciences are like pissed at these peace people because it's so ephemeral. You know, like Le Duc Tho and Henry Kissinger, or who's the dead guy from PLO? The guy who always needed a shave.
Yasser Arafat.
Yeah, Arafat and Begin. You know, the pieces versus the hard sciences, you know?
Do you know that Nobel scientists are currently, right now, this month, 2026, they're quibbling? Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the people who got the Peace Prize, I mean, not the Peace Prize, the Nobel Prize for the universe is expanding, that's been challenged. And the scientists that are challenging it with their mathematical formulas are battling the people who made the discovery, who are saying, no, we think your math is wrong, and here's why. And they say, no, we think your math is wrong, and here's why. And nobody knows who to side with, because who could speak this language of mathematics?
Well, certainly not me. It
Yeah.
makes, I mean, I'm a pretty smart guy, and I see those numbers, and it makes my head hurt. I say, I got to stop here.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, take the differential of this. Jag-offs. But one thing, you cannot get a Nobel Prize posthumously. So, like, if you're waiting to see and you
Right.
die, sorry, asshole, you're out. You know, you could
Yeah.
create the laser or the transistor.
Darn it, I got to work harder.
Okay, so let's see. We're pulling up on the end. So I gotta tell a joke. I got a joke. So woman said, "My kids are bugging me so bad. I'm going to sell them on eBay." And her friend says, "No, you made them, so sell them on Etsy."
Oh. I get it.
Do you get it?
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
We got him finally.
And alrighty, we didn't hit a bunch of topics, but that's okay because that gives us more to do. So thanks for all you for showing up. We are on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and on TikTok. So you can see us for an indeterminate or determinate times, from a week on Twitch to forever on YouTube. And I don't know what the TikTok time is. If you have any comments, you can contact us on our socials, or you can text me if you have my number. I'm not going to give it to you. And we thank y'all. We're pulling into the station. And Robbie, give us our exit.
Stay classy, Buffalo.
Rock on, all y'all. Have a great weekend.